Today I want to show you how to make a quick and easy Christmas card using the jumbo wheel and the Joly Jiggles rubber stamp wheel. So this is going to be so easy, you're going to be shocked. So if you're planning to do 40 Christmas cards and you need to run through them real quick, this is the card for you. So what I'm going to do first is just take a piece of white cardstock and cut it in half at 5 1/2. This automatically gives me 2 cards. Then I'm going to fold and score that to give me my card base. Okay, now I could have prepared my wheel in advance, but I didn't because I want to show you how to put it together. So when you get it, you're going to want these 3 things and a reinker. So you're going to want the wheel handle, which is a separate purchase. The rubber stamp for Joly Jiggles, which is our Christmas wheel. You want a blank ink cartridge. Now, this is optional. What I mean by that is you can ink it using your ink pads, but I'm thinking fast here. If I'm doing 40 cards, I don't want to have to ink between each card. This automatically inks it for me, so it keeps me rolling. But we don't have this in every color. So if you get it blank, then you can use any reinker you have to color it. And basically that means you open it up and you pour the ink in there. So let me do that. I'm using real red. So I'm just going to pour that in there. And you do want to put plenty. So don't be cheap on this. Put plenty of the reinker in there and roll it as you do it.
Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop. Mistletoe hung where you can't see, every couple tries to stop. Rocking around the Christmas tree, let the Christmas spirit ring. Later we'll have some pumpkin pie and we'll do some caroling. You might get a sentimental feeling when you hear voices singing, let's be jolly, deck those with boughs of holly, rocking around.
Okay, so now I'm going to put it into the wheel. So there is actually a little pipe sticking out, and there's a little stick sticking out. I'm just going to push that in so that the little stick goes into the little pipe. And then when you push it in right, you'll feel the pressure of it popping back up and locking in place. Alright, so once you've done that, you need to get your rubber stamp in. So this one is a little challenging because it has text on it. I want to make sure when I put this on that when I roll with my right hand, that the top of the text is going to be at the top of my card. So let me just take this away for a second. I don't need it at all. I want to roll this so that the top of the text is at the top of the card, so the text is not upside down. So basically, if I put this on the card so I can see how it's going to write, I can right away see that it's wrong. I can turn it around. Once I see it right, so that the top is at the top for the card, now I'm just going to put my inker down the way I'm going to do it. So if you're left-handed, you would do it that way so that you could see. Right? So now the ink is still not touching the rollers. You can see it's not being inked. So all I'm going to do is push this forward. When I push that forward, you're going to hear that pop. You heard it. And I can pull this piece out. And what that means is now the ink is touching the roller. So I'm just going to go on my paper and start rolling. And look at that. Isn't that wonderful? And I never have to ink again. Alright? Now, I'm going to open up my card, and I'm going to find a line that I could use as my guide. And for those of you that are new to this, I actually recommend you draw a light pencil line. So using the grid on my paper, depending on how high I want my image, so if you look at it next to the card, you know, it's that wide. So I want to pick it up a little bit. So I'm going to line this up on the grid, and I'm going to draw a pencil line. Just a very light pencil line that I'm going to erase later. So all that does is it gives me a card that I'm going to actually keep as my final. So now starting off the paper, but you know what, tip? I want the ornament to show, so I'm going to turn the wheel until I see the ornament. I'm going to pick this up because I want the ornament to show on this card. Inch and a half or so. So I'm going to draw it pretty high so that I have a bottom border. Okay, very light. So now I'm going to sit it down outside of the card, but towards that line, and I'm going to use that line to keep me straight. I'm just going to stay on that line, and I'm not going fast on purpose. And I'm going to so that I can totally control the movement of the wheel. We actually do. And you see, sometimes you have to practice. That might be slightly align these, and you can definitely buy that tool. But I'm done. There it is. Beautiful. Now. Okay, so I've done 2, actually did 4, but you can see 2. I did 2 so far, and I've allowed it to dry. So I paused the video for a while to give it some time to dry. And now I'm going to erase those pencil marks that we put down. I also folded up the paper. I'm pretty careful with craft ink because it takes a little longer to dry than the classic. And so I give it dry time. I don't sit things on top of it after I've stamped it on scrap paper, things like that. I'm a little bit more careful with the craft ink than I am with the classic. Just because it needs more time to dry, that's the only reason. And now I'm going to add ribbon. So I've selected a red ribbon. And I'm going to put that on my cards. Yeah, that's better. And I'm going to cut that. Okay. And if you notice, on this one it turned out well. I wanted it to look like, a little bit like the ornament was hanging from the knot. And maybe the stocking too. Another, you know, maybe you do a border. So let me show you how to score a border, which is something I really like to do. Super fast. Do it on the other side so it looks embossed. And I'm just going to take the bone folder, this one's kind of broken, excuse me, and just create a line right there. And then move up, flip it over, do something similar on the other side. So I've used my cutting device to do some embossing. So just emboss the line at the top and the bottom. You can do something like that too. So again, the idea with this is to make it really fast, really quick. I'll show you a couple of others I did. Here I decided to add a bigger embellishment, so I stamped Dasher down and just wrote Joyeux Noël. And then on this one I put a cherry cobbler border after I stamped it in black. And this is my favorite. This is in my favorite color this year is cherry cobbler. And here the hanging of the ornament and the stocking turned out well. And you notice the crystal effects there that give the ornament and the stocking some shine. So all of these are kind of a cool way to do 1-minute cards for your holiday. Enjoy. Thank you.
Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop.